Today we're going to be doing zucchini pasta spaghetti marinara using a zucchini. Remember we talked about the zucchini early on in one of our tips? Check this out. Zucchini. And I have 3 different types of appliances that will make 3 different types of noodles. What you want is the green firm zucchini. We're going to cut off the ends. And we'll cut it just about in half. And what you'll do is this little device will make a spaghetti noodle for us. You're going to place the center of the zucchini on that little nipple, press it in, push this in to secure it, and then we're going to turn. This is actually going to make your noodle. And remember we talked about earlier that that zucchini needs to sit out, if you have the time, to allow it to become al dente. Otherwise it's going to have a little bit of crunch, but that's not a bad thing. So we're going to press and turn at the same time. And here comes the noodle. Now this recipe takes another 5-10 minutes at the most. And of course you're getting all the nutrition of the zucchini, loaded with calcium, all of its antioxidants, and here's your zucchini pasta noodle. Now, as it is here, when you bite into it, it's going to have a little bit of a crunch. What I suggest is if you're going to be serving this for folks that have never had living food before, is to go ahead and make the noodle, and as we talked about before, let it sit out about 6 or 8 hours. I left the skins on today so that you can see the color of the outer skin. However, if you're serving this to folks for the very first time and you want it to emulate the real deal, I would suggest peeling it, and therefore your noodle will give you more of the color of a real spaghetti noodle. Okay? So let me just do a few more. I'm going to use another type of piece of equipment. It's going to give us a different noodle. This noodle is going to be more like a angel hair pasta noodle. And this has a little tiny blade that you need to attach. That blade will go into the center and it will lock. And then we're going to take that zucchini again and cut it. Now it's really important with this particular piece of equipment to make sure that that zucchini is straight. If it's crooked at all, it's not going to spin properly, nor will it cut. We're going to place the zucchini in the center again, and there's a little nipple there. It'll sit down on top of the nipple. You'll place the lid on top. It has teeth to grab. It'll go on top and turn. Then press down lightly so as to attach to the zucchini, and then turn. And you will start to see there's a zucchini noodle coming out at the bottom. And again, same thing, if you want to take the skins off first so that it looks more like a real zucchini angel hair pasta, you can certainly do so. Kids love to do this, by the way. My girlfriend doesn't talk to me anymore because she has 5 children, and each one of them wanted to make noodles. And so for 5 days, she ate spaghetti marinara for 5 days because everybody wanted their turn. And there you can see that that is your angel hair pasta noodle. Okay? Now I'm going to make one other type of noodle for you, just so that you can see the variation. This is another piece of equipment that we use. This has 3 blades to it. The very first blade is the blade that we're going to be using today. That's the spaghetti blade. And they just pop right in, click, and then the other blades store right here in the front. This is a larger noodle, and this will be your slicer. If you're going to prepare things like a zucchini linguine or a zucchini lasagna. We'll just pop that back in. And same scenario. You're going to place the zucchini again in the center. Press it in. Push the teeth in. This one operates just a little bit different. It's got suction feet. I do recommend that you pop that down on your countertop really good, okay, so it won't move. Then it has a little gear handle. Press and turn. Now you'll see a little bit different type of noodle this time. Fatter, thicker, more like probably a number 3 or a number 2. And again, here it is without the skin. Okay, so we're going to do up just a few of these. It'll just take a few minutes. And roughly it should be about 1 zucchini or a zucchini and a half per person for servings. Unless, of course, you have kids and they're going to end up making tons of this stuff for you. So again, we're going to turn. Place it into your bowl. Now, in living food, we throw away nothing, okay? So all these little tips and pieces we save because we use these in our smoothies, okay? Don't throw away anything. And with today's prices, you wouldn't want to anyway. Okay, a little bit more. And we'll do a few more. And same thing, back into the center, push and turn. You can get your kids to do this, by the way. Keep them out of trouble. There we go. And we'll do one more. Okay. And there you go. Zucchini spaghetti pasta. All right, now we'll move this out of the way. And to release these, you need to kind of pop it with your fingernails and kind of grab that little suction cup like that and pop it off the countertop there. And it holds very firmly, believe me, which is what you want because it's a safety feature. There we go. Okay, pasta is done. And we'll just let this sit over here for a little while and let it soften up. Okay, now we're going to do the marinara sauce. And the marinara is going to consist of tomatoes, which we've got right here. We prefer the Roma tomatoes when we're doing living food because they don't have as much liquid. However, if you have regular tomatoes, that's perfectly fine. What we do recommend, however, is if you like a chunky type of a sauce, is to de-seed them and take out the gel that's in the center. That's very easily done. You can just cut it in half, like so, grab the center, and pull it out. However, remember, we don't throw away anything, so we would put this into the center, into a plastic bag, and we'll save that because that's going to become part of our V8 juice that we'll make tomorrow morning. We'll use the centers with a little onion, a little celery, a little garlic, a little sea salt. You're good to go. You got V8. Okay? So today, for camera's sake, we're going to go ahead and get rid of the centers. Okay? So we're going to put the tomatoes in. And it's about 2½ cups worth of tomatoes. Now, if you don't mind the sauce being a little bit runny, then you can certainly leave all the pulp and everything in. But like I say, what happens is a lot of times that pulp will water down your recipe so that when you actually make the sauce, it'll be a little bit too watery. So we're going to give you a nice thick marinara sauce today. Now, when you're making the sauce, you can add to this mushrooms, red bell pepper, whatever you would normally add to a normal marinara sauce, you may add. We're also going to add some sun-dried tomatoes. And sun-dried tomatoes can either be dried and then soaked, preferably in what we call purified water. Purified water is anything other than tap water. So it can be reverse osmosis, it can be alkaline, it can be bottled, but just not straight out of the tap. Okay? Living food is very sensitive to the types of water that you use because remember, the food is living. Okay? So if you're using tap water, you're absorbing all the chemicals and things that have been added by the city, so we prefer that you use a purified water to start. Even in soaking, okay? You want to soak in purified water, whether it be nuts or seeds, always in purified water. Okay? Now don't forget to soak the sun-dried tomatoes unless you're using some that are suspended in oil or in water. And if you don't have sun-dried that are live, that you've rehydrated with water, it's okay. You can take some out of your pantry and you can certainly use them. It's not the end of the world. Okay? So we got our tomatoes in. And here's our sun-dried tomatoes. Just going to throw them in. And we have approximately 12, but these are pretty big ones, so we're using about 4 or 5 today. Then we're going to use, instead of dates today, which you can use, the dates are going to add thickness to the sauce. Today we're going to use golden raisins that have been soaked, and we like to soak them again also in the purified water so that they soften and they will actually help to cream out the sauce and make it creamier and add just a little bit of sweetness to it. So when you're doing a living food recipe, we always try to give you a combination of savory and sweet, always, because it helps to control the cravings, because when you get a craving, the first thing you say is, oh gosh, I'm starving, I've got to have something to eat, so you go grab potato chips because it's salty. And then you eat the salt and you go, that's not it, I think I'll have something sweet. So then you go for the cookies or the donuts or whatever. So we try to satisfy that by using both sweet and savory in the recipe. So today we're going to use golden raisins. They've been soaked 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Even if it's overnight, it's not the end of the world. You'll have plenty of time and they'll be fine to use. So we're going to add those in. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of sea salt and approximately a quarter cup of olive oil. This is cold pressed, extra virgin. And we have 4 cloves of garlic. And you can mince them if you'd like. Not necessary. I'm kind of a lazy person. It goes a lot faster if you just kind of throw it in there and let the food processor do the work for you. And then we're going to add parsley, approximately 2 tablespoons. Ideally, just kind of pick the stems off the top. Don't put the stems in. Just use the very top portions. And you'll be able to guess approximately what 2 tablespoons in, plus or minus a little bit more. It's not the end of the world. You'll find out as you start doing more and more living food recipes that this is not rocket science. It doesn't matter. If the recipe calls for a half a cup and you only have a quarter, fine, use it. If it calls for a cup and you measured a cup and a quarter, fine, use it. It's not rocket science, okay? So it's very simple. And after we've got our parsley, then we're going to also add that 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne, again for that kick. We use a lot of cayenne in living food recipes. It's great for circulation. Okay, and now we're ready. Here we go. A little stir. And guess what, kids? We're almost done. Now again, if you like it chunky, then you can do it like this. You can pulse chop it. If you want it smooth, just let the processor run a little bit longer. And we're done. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Well, it's time to plate it up. Time to eat, folks. Okay, I'm going to take it out of the processor. Remember again, that little tip, hang on to that blade. Pop your top off. Okay, now, I'm going to grab a little bit of the zucchini. And if you have kids, you might want to think about cutting this because they're going to all over your house. It'll be all over the walls, all the marinara sauce. But for today, we're going to leave it like so. We're going to place our marinara on top. Look at those colors. Look at those colors. This is awesome. Okay. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of white sesame on top, just for presentation. Zucchini, pasta, spaghetti, marinara.